Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney. The month of June is usually reserved for dads and grads, but Sunday, June 15th, is set aside as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. While abuse takes many forms, today we're going to talk about scams and cons. According to the National Council on Aging, more than 100,000 people aged 60 and over report being victims of fraud in 2023. Elderly people being taken advantage of by fictional princes may be a running joke on the internet, but it's no laughing matter. We welcome Vermont Attorney General Clark back to our program to talk about how to avoid scams. The Office of Vermont Attorney General's Consumer Assistance Program, housed by the University of Vermont in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. It's good to see you, Attorney General Clark.
Nice to see you.
We're always happy to have you on.
Thanks.
And is there a reason why older people seem to be more likely the victim of scams?
Yes, it is because they have more money than younger people. Younger people, of course, haven't lived as long, they haven't experienced the world, and they're probably less sophisticated, so they are actually more likely to fall for a scam. But it is older people who've had the time to accumulate wealth and they have more money. And of course, scammers like to use the scams that work and target the people they're going to be able to steal the most money from, and that is older people.
Sure. And so older people are targeted more, but are they not always the victim more often?
That's right. It is younger people who are more likely to fall for a scam.
Absolutely. So what's your advice for avoiding scams, even if it's a call, an email, a text, something like that?
Well, generally, this works for all scams, so it's not scam specific. It's to get in touch with what's going on. So there's like a formula that I like to use, and it is if there is an urgent matter, the person you're talking to, you can't verify they are who they say they are, and they're trying to get your money, and there's this sense of urgency, and then add in an emotional feeling of, is it excitement? Is it concern? Is it worried? Now you're in this space that it's the perfect recipe for a scam. So that's when your alarm bells should be going off and you should be thinking, wait a minute, is this what Charity Clark warned me about?
Absolutely, and I know I've accidentally clicked a link that maybe I realized I shouldn't have, but there's no shame in reporting it, is that right?
Of course. I mean, our consumer assistance program is always available. Even if you're not sure if something's a scam or not, you can always call and talk to someone just to walk through what it might be, and folks can reach out to us. The phone number is 1-800-649-2424, and we're always available to receive those scam reports. It's also important because we use scam reports to inform us of what's going on with scams, and then we can make a scam alert to alert Vermonters that there's a particular scam that seems to be on the rise, or even a sweep that's being done that very day. So it's great for folks, even if they don't fall for a scam, to call our office so that we can get the word out to other Vermonters.
Sure, some real-time information to help out maybe yourself and some neighbors as well.
Exactly.
And so, like you said, it's not just if you've already been a victim, but there's a good amount of preventative information there as well.
Yeah, I mean, most of the reports that we get are from people who know it's a scam, and they haven't been scammed themselves, but they want to make sure they're giving us the information, protecting their neighbors so that we can get the word out. And it almost is never local, but of course, if it is a scammer who's in Vermont, we can get involved in trying to shut that person down. It's, of course, as most of everybody knows, most scams occur overseas, and it's very difficult to shut down operations.
Sure, so prevention is the best method.
Exactly.
Absolutely, and I see more and more ads on social media, so should I consider every ad a potential scam?
I hate to sound like a curmudgeon and someone who's paranoid, but yes, unfortunately, now with AI, especially artificial intelligence, it has allowed scammers to use technology to be extremely convincing in perpetuating their scam. So yes, anything online you should be a little bit wary of, but I'll give you a tip. With anything that someone is trying to solicit you, buy my product, give me money for this cause or whatever, if you just take a moment and pause and go find that business or that nonprofit on your own, that can be a good way of protecting yourself, of not just clicking on the link or contacting the email address that they've given you.
Sure, just remember the name and type it in yourself.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And is it a good rule of thumb that if it sounds too good to be true, it is?
Yes, that's our motto at the Consumer Assistance Program. If it sounds too good to be true, it is.
Absolutely. So is it kind of, now that summer's here, are people reaching out for scams about a free vacation? What do they look like now?
Well, a few things I want to say about that. I mean, the first is, yes, so scammers are always going to be using the scam that is most effective. And so when they are looking at summer, they're thinking about, okay, summer mindset. So one thing that I would be on guard for is summers are, of course, a time when a lot of us take vacation. So if somebody's nephew is posting on social media that they're vacationing in Jamaica or wherever they are, a scammer could see that if it's public and use it to perpetuate the grandparent scam or the close family relation scam and say, I'm in Jamaica, right? They know that the nephew's actually in Jamaica and try to call someone and make a scam that way. So that is one thing. The other is it's a time when our children are going to different camps or things aren't usually in their normal routine. And so that is an opportunity where that emotion might be spiked. Remember what I said about my formula? If emotions are high, if you're concerned, if you're worried, if you're excited. So I think getting off of our routines and our rhythms could create that environment where a scam could be, or maybe more vulnerable to having a scam work on us.
Definitely. So it's safe to say scams aren't taking the summer off.
That is, yes, that's
All
true.
right, absolutely. And so the FTC annually reports about frauds involving older adults, and they reported losses totaling more than $1.9 billion in 2023. So is any of this money recoverable?
First, I bet that number is grossly underestimated or underreported. I mean, a lot of people have a sense of shame if they're scammed and they don't want help and they don't want to report it, which we, of course, want to discourage because that's the most important thing is to contact our office. And even if you're scammed, there are steps you can take to protect yourself, after the fact. So we want to help folks work through that. In terms of recovering the money, it's very unusual. Something that you can do to protect yourself is when you purchase things, use a credit card. Credit cards, by law, have consumer protection built into them. Things like cash, gift cards, or cryptocurrency have no consumer protections. It's very difficult to get money back once those means of paying for things have been used and it's a scam.
Sure, so use a credit card and then your chances are a lot better.
Yes, definitely, use a credit card.
All right, and you guys work a lot recovering money for Vermonters. Do you have any figures from the last few years about how much you've recovered?
This past year, we've recovered over $2 million, but that includes and is mostly made up of complaints. So those are complaints that folks have made against regular businesses who are not criminal enterprises. They just, have a disagreement, and we're proud of that. But the recovery for scams is much lower. I mean, when we're able to get money back from a scam, it's a time for rejoice. I mean, there's literally applause that happens. It's so rare. Something that we can do is within the first 24 hours, we might be able to unwind, for example, a gift card or a wire. And so if the scam has just occurred, immediately call our office and we'll do everything we can to help. If the scam, the more time that passes, the less likely it is we'll be able to be helpful getting the money back, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So acting fast is key if you
Yes,
end up falling victim.
Absolutely. And like I said, always feel free to call before you give the money. And if you're ever getting money at the bank or at Walmart or something, and a clerk there says, this feels a little scammy to me, listen to them. They've been trained to support people in making transactions like that, and they are trained to be able to spot scams. So if someone ever says to you, this feels like it might be a scam, take a moment and pause, reach out to our office, or recall a friend and walk through it with them. That's another way of just making sure that you're about to engage in a transaction that's legitimate.
Absolutely. There's no harm in asking a second question before doing anything.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And we talk, usually every year you guys come out with a list of the top 10 scams that are really popular. So I know we're only about halfway through 2025, but are there any that you're seeing get really popular?
Well, keep in mind, scammers want to use the scam that's going to be most effective. So I put my money on the computer tech support scam. It was last year, overwhelmingly, that was the number one scam that we heard about. And also, it is incredibly effective because it's a lot of money at stake. If someone is able to access your computer, think of the damage that they could do if they could easily, get on your computer and find information about your brokerage accounts, your bank accounts, your social security number. So the impact is great, and that is why scammers really like that scam. And if they are successful, they'll be able to get a lot of money and a lot of information that they might be able to sell on the dark web to other criminals who are looking to buy social security numbers or whatever.
So what does that tech support scam look like? Is that a pop-up window? Is it an email?
It could be either. I think the pop-up window, to me, that's the one that I would
the quintessential,
fall for.
yeah.
Yes. So the pop-up window comes up on your computer. You're minding your own business, and the pop-up says, oh no, you have a virus, but don't worry, I can fix it. And they'll make up a legitimate sounding company, or they might even use a company we know about, like Norton. We've heard of that, and so they'll say that that's who they are. They've stolen their logo, and they'll say, but don't worry, I can fix it, and just click on this link to allow me to access your computer remotely. But once they're in your computer, it's over. So you want to immediately shut down your computer if that happens. But I always say the best approach is to take your computer to your local computer repair shop, or next time you're in, Rutland, Williston, wherever, go bring your computer, because then you know it's safe. You're at a legitimate store and it's not a scammer who's taking advantage of you.
Sure. And we were talking a little bit before this program about how your office has spent a lot of time suing over different Trump administration policies. And one of them, you mentioned you're gaining some good traction, is the tariffs.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the progress there.
Yeah, that's been a sort of one with recent developments. Recently, a lower federal court agreed with us that the tariffs were illegal and put a pause on them. Immediately, the higher court, the appeals court, said, well, hang on just a minute, and put forth a briefing schedule. A briefing schedule, like the actual papers, have to be filed. So we probably by the end of next week, the case will be what we call fully briefed, meaning all the papers will be in, and we'll be ready for oral argument if that's what the court wishes, and they will have their ruling. So I have a feeling maybe in the middle of June we will be able to have clarity on what the tariff case will look like.
Sure. And the session is almost over, or maybe by the time this airs it will be over.
Yeah.
So is the summer a time for you guys to relax a little bit, or are you ramping up?
One thing that I do in the summer a lot when I can be away from Montpelier is I like to go out into the community and meet with people. I just get so many great ideas hearing what's on Vermonters' minds and what's going on outside of where I'm usually traveling. So that's something that I really look forward to doing every summer and fall. So we'll be gearing up to do more outreach. The only thing that I miss in the summer is the school children aren't in school, and I love meeting with kids. So I'll have to look forward to doing more of that in the fall.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And that takes care of our program for today. I want to thank the crew behind the scenes here at WCAX for their help. I'm Jolie Whitney. This is Across the Fence. Have a good one.